Okay, so obviously success back then was the heels and the makeup and the traveling, and then success became just making ends meet so that Aston had nappies and you could eat. So that's huge, right? If you fast forward to now, with everything that you know, what does success look and feel like to you now in your business?
Definitely financial freedom. And as I said, we're still as a family really quite struggling to achieve that. It's a work in progress for us personally because of what's happened over the last couple of years. But we're on the right path and we're making steps towards that. So financial freedom, definitely. And I don't need to be crazy wealthy. We've done a lot of work around what our ideal lifestyle looks like and what that costs. So we've got a pretty clear figure on what financial freedom looks like for us in terms of income and assets and all that sort of stuff. So we're working towards that. But then I don't want to necessarily win lotto either, because I don't need to be free of work either, because having a work-life balance for me is definitely important. And the biggest thing that I've struggled with over the last 12 months is not really having control over that. With newborn babies and 2 of them, it's been, really challenging to just focus on them and to give them everything that I've got. And now over the last couple of months, coming back and creating space for myself and my business has been so mentally fulfilling that, definitely creating a work-life balance that works for us. And for me personally, that means time to work, because that's what I want to do. My brain, my heart, really want to do more of that. So, but finding a balance that feels easy and effortless is important.
And you go.
I was just going to say, I know that, when you look at a lot of successful business people out there, whether it's the Richard Bransons or whatever, a lot of them have had businesses where, well, they've either done them and failed, or they've done them and they haven't been able to continue them, and they've sort of either sold them or they've pivoted onto other businesses. You reached a point, pre-pregnancy, I guess, more so than just them being born, where you had a great successful business, and now we know that you're now going to be able to bring that back up again. But going through having the twins, I would say that is probably a, life-changing moment for you when you look back and say, something that really changed the trajectory of where you're going and what you're doing. But it's really exciting to hear and see the passion and drive behind, what's going to come out of that. And knowing that there are so many mums out there that don't have 2, they have 1, or they have multiple, but at different ages. Tell us about the challenge and what you had to do, even from a pivot and mindset perspective, going from being, really successful in your own right, being really proud, I'm sure, of what you'd built up, to then having to pivot.
Yeah, it's quite honestly been the hardest 12 months of my life. And, that's pretty big, because there's been some ugly years before then, and, unpleasant relationships, and being a single mum for 4 years, and there's been some dark days, but this was definitely the hardest 12 months of my life. And I think because it came about so suddenly, I was fine. And as you said, I was on a very clear path, and I had a very, business and life worked, and we had money for the first time in a really long time, and things felt really good. And then almost overnight, I got so sick that and not only did I have to close my business down, my business shut down overnight. So I let people down, and, I've worked really hard to make up for that and to go back and fix those things. But just emotionally, that was really hard. I let clients down, and I had to, let clients off my books basically overnight without doing the work that I promised. I had to refund a lot of money, and that, wasn't really there to refund because it had already been spent. So it was very challenging. And then, as I said, mentally and emotionally, I love what I do. And so even as we sort of got past the trauma of how quickly it all happened, I didn't get back to myself for such a long time. With Aston, it was very different. As I said, I went back to work in an office job. I was office manager, and I went back to work when he was a week old. And life just seemed to flow on, and it wasn't until I made decisions for myself and for him that things changed. Whereas with the twins, it just, you know, they were in hospital for 2 weeks, and then it just was full on from day one. It just was no sleep, and it was